In the hushed whispers of dawn, our sleepy neighborhood stirs with tales of the inexplicable. Picture a place where life ambles along at a comfortable pace, where the most exciting event is the annual bake-off at the community center. That's our neighborhood, folks. A slice of ordinary, wrapped in the humdrum of daily life. But of late, the mundane has been making way for the bizarre. Our everyday appliances, those silent partners in our daily grind, are beginning to behave oddly. Mrs. Henderson's blender, a trusted companion in her pursuit of culinary excellence, suddenly turned rogue. And that's not an isolated incident. Lawnmowers, garage doors, even toasters are acting out in ways we can't quite grasp. These are not the ordinary glitches of overworked machinery. No, there's something more unsettling. As the sun rises, it casts long shadows over our homes, shadows that seem to be hiding something unnatural. Our first tale begins in the kitchen of the Johnsons, a family known for their love of smoothies. Every morning, like clockwork, the whir of their trusty blender filled their cozy house, a sweet symphony heralding the start of a new day. But one fateful Wednesday, this harmonious routine was shattered. The Johnsons were gathered around their well-worn kitchen table, each one eagerly waiting for their share of the morning's fruity concoction. As the blender's familiar hum started, it was business as usual. But then, without warning, the hum grew louder, escalating into a terrifying roar. The blender, once their loyal kitchen companion, morphed into a dangerous device. The family watched in horror as the blender whirred with an intensity they'd never seen before. It rattled violently on the counter, its contents splattering across the room, painting their once pristine kitchen in a gruesome hue of breakfast smoothie. The room was filled with a deafening noise, a cacophony of fear and disbelief. The blender, it seemed, had taken on a life of its own. The Johnsons were frozen in shock, their morning tranquility replaced with a chilling sense of dread. The father, Mr. Johnson, mustered his courage and lunged for the power switch, but the blender fought back, its cord whipping around like a snake, keeping him at bay. It was a surreal standoff between man and machine, a scene that would forever be etched into their memories. When the chaos finally subsided, the family was left in a state of stunned silence. Their beloved blender, the heart of their morning routine, had betrayed them in the most violent way. The kitchen was a war zone, their breakfast splattered across every surface. The Johnsons' trust in their everyday appliances was irrevocably broken. The Johnsons' morning smoothie ritual was forever tainted by the terror of the unexpected. The once innocuous blender had shown them a side of itself they'd never imagined. And as they cleaned up the aftermath, they couldn't help but wonder, what would be next? Over on Maple Street, Mr. Thompson's Sunday gardening took a turn for the terrifying. The morning was as usual. The scent of dew-kissed grass filled the air, and the sun painted a golden hue on every leaf. Mr. Thompson, the diligent gardener, was ready for his weekly bout with the weeds. Trusty weed whacker in hand, he began his labor of love, unaware of the horror that lay ahead. Without warning, the weed whacker seemed to develop a mind of its own. It began to vibrate violently, its monotonous drone escalating into an ominous growl. The cord, which once obediently sliced through the weeds, started lashing out like a serpent in the throes of a deadly dance. Mr. Thompson's surprise was palpable. His hands, roughened by years of gardening, struggled to maintain control. The weed whacker, once a reliable ally, had morphed into an unruly adversary. The peaceful symphony of the garden was replaced by the jarring cacophony of chaos. The weed whacker writhed and wriggled, pulling Mr. Thompson along as it embarked on a rampage. It tore through the marigolds, decimated the daffodils, and transformed the tulips into a tragic tableau. The roses, those beautiful roses that Mr. Thompson had painstakingly nurtured, didn't stand a chance. The once serene garden was now a scene of devastation. Petals lay scattered, the bright colors a stark contrast to the terror that had unfolded. Mr. Thompson stood amidst the wreckage, his heart pounding, his palms sweaty. The weed whacker lay dormant at his feet, its fury spent. The only sound was the mocking chirp of a distant bird, oblivious to the drama that had just played out. In the end, Mr. Thompson was safe, albeit shaken. His trusty tool had turned traitor, leaving him to question everything he once knew. The garden, his sanctuary, had transformed into a battlefield. The enemy not a pest or a weed, but a tool he once trusted. Mr. Thompson's once peaceful garden became a battlefield, the enemy a tool he once trusted. And then there was the Petersons' garage door, a regular feature that concealed an irregular horror. In the heart of our quaint neighborhood, the Petersons, a lovely couple known for their immaculate lawn and cheery disposition, met an unsettling misfortune. One bright Saturday morning, as Mr. Peterson prepared to head out for his weekly golf game, he found himself face to face with an unexpected adversary, his own garage door. Just as he reached for the garage door opener, the door, typically a steady and reliable protector of their cherished sedan, began to convulse in a terrifying dance of metal and machinery. It jolted up and down, its movements unpredictable and erratic, as if possessed by a mischievous spirit. The once sturdy guardian of the Petersons' vehicle had turned into a rogue mechanical beast, its panels clanking and groaning in a menacing cacophony. The Petersons stood rooted to the spot, their faces a mask of shock and disbelief. Their safe, predictable world had been invaded by an inexplicable horror that left them questioning the very reality of their surroundings. The garage, a place of refuge for their beloved car, had been transformed into a death trap. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood, a chilling breeze that seeped into every home, turning the mundane into the monstrous. The Petersons' garage door mishap was no longer a singular incident. It was a symptom of an escalating nightmare that had the entire neighborhood in its icy grip. Folks started to eye their own garage doors with suspicion, their minds filled with images of the Petersons' garage door's erratic dance. The sound of a garage door opening or closing was no longer a mundane occurrence, but a chilling reminder of the lurking horror. In the end, what was once a symbol of safety and security had now become a monstrous entity. The Petersons' garage, a sanctuary for their beloved car, was transformed into a mechanical monster, its jaws ready to snap. The neighborhood, once a haven of tranquility, was now a place where everyday appliances became agents of inexplicable horror. In the wake of these events, our neighborhood is left grappling with a new reality. A reality where the humdrum of everyday life has been usurped by a chilling undercurrent of unexplained phenomena. Our once tranquil streets, filled with the laughter of children and the friendly chatter of neighbors, now echo with a hushed unease. In the heart of our community, the ordinary has taken a sinister turn. Everyday appliances, once symbols of convenience and modern living, now inspire a sense of dread. The blender, the weed whacker, the garage door. These mundane objects have become characters in a macabre drama that unfolds daily, casting a long shadow of uncertainty over us all. The impact of these strange occurrences has been profound. The fear, the uncertainty, it's palpable. You can feel it in the air, thick as morning fog. It's there in the hurried footsteps on the sidewalk, in the curt nods exchanged between neighbors, in the anxious glances thrown toward seemingly innocent machines. Yet, in the face of this shared adversity, something remarkable is happening. A sense of camaraderie is emerging, born out of the shared experiences and collective unease. Neighbors are reaching out to one another, offering comfort, sharing theories, and lending a helping hand when the inexplicable strikes. We're banding together, drawing strength from one another. There's a newfound resilience in our community, a determination to face the unknown and reclaim our sense of normalcy. We're holding on to hope, to the belief that we can weather this storm, that we can emerge stronger and more united than ever before. And while we may not have the answers, we have each other. We have our shared experiences, our shared fears, and our shared determination. We are not alone in this. And that is our greatest strength. In these peculiar times, our once peaceful neighborhood has become a hotbed of mystery and suspense, a place where the ordinary becomes extraordinary in the blink of an eye. Y'all, we're wrapping up here, but don't you go anywhere just yet. Show some love, hit that like button. Fancy more content like this? Go on, subscribe and let that bell icon ring so you won't miss a beat. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, sharing is caring. Until next time, stay tuned.